right, so for everyone joining us, we just finished up our drawing tutorial for the day. We drew some meese, and we also agreed that meese is the correct, plural form of moose, in case you're wondering. So we all learned something today as well, but we'll get started with the formal academic portion. Well, we'll get started with the guided meditation, and then carry on with the academic portion in just a little while. So I think we'll start around 12:05 to let people join in. But I hope everyone's day is going well in the meantime. Hope you're excited.
Yes, place your weekend plans in the chat.
I just wanted to say hi to everyone. Good to see all of your faces again. This is our fourth session. We only have a week to go. I hope everyone's still enjoying their classes. There's been some interesting stuff happening. Ariana's been posting things on Instagram. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing in your classes. And the correct form of moose is actually moose, Kaylin. So
lies. Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her.
Don't give students false information. I don't think we're in a business of confusing people.
It's just like goose and geese,
it's
right?
Moose. It's moose.
Don't believe the lies. Jelani, nope. I need some support here. Come on, Cynthia was on my side earlier. Gotta have somebody else. Okay, I see you. There we go. Me moose, there we go. Perfect. Perfect in between. Thank you, Solomon. There we go.
No, obviously Jelani knows, okay? So we might be in the minority, but we are correct.
There's a whole blog debate about that, by the way. I just want it's a whole debate about moose, mises, or mooses. Like, it's a whole debate.
Well, from what I understand, if we're looking at it linguistically, goose is like an old English word, and so it goes into geese, but moose is borrowed from native indigenous people's languages, which is why it doesn't convert to meese when you pluralize it. But language develops over time, you see. And so with this development, I think that it might be optimal to change the plural to meese. Boom, case closed. You're welcome.
So you're making a case for the Urban Dictionary as opposed to the reality of the English dictionary. Is that correct?
The English dictionary has changed over the years. I mean, they added twerking, they're adding lol, and like all these abbreviations. So like, as language develops, we gotta adapt. Otherwise, we're gonna be left in the past. And so I think we should be progressive in College Connect and accept the future as it comes to us, and accept that meese is the correct plural for moose.
Well, I recognize your right to start a movement, but it hasn't happened yet.
Got it. Okay, well, I'm on the bleeding edge here, so you'll see. Well, also, a little bit more seriously, it looks like the room's filling up a little bit, and so I might just pass it along to Carolyn to start our guided meditation.
Great. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Okay, good. See some thumbs up. Not good, some people. So there's a lot going on in the world right now. Yeah. And I think it's very easy to, well, it's natural to feel protective and to want to close your heart. Yeah, because you want to feel safe. And this exercise is meant to make you feel safer and to practice the natural opening of the heart, even if it's just to yourself and your loved ones. All right, so it's called the loving kindness meditation. Begin in a relaxed position and take a moment to breathe in fully and deeply. Check in on your body and notice how you are feeling now, letting whatever is here be here. Now let yourself bring to mind someone whom the moment you think of them, you feel happy. It could be a relative, a close friend, a child, a pet, something not too complicated of a relationship, but you feel easy to feel love for. Feel them in front of you, feel them, sense them, see them. As you imagine them, notice how you're feeling inside. Maybe you feel some warmth, a smile, a sense of expansiveness, freedom. This is loving kindness, a natural feeling that is accessible to you at all times. Now, with them in front of you, begin to wish them well. May you be safe and protected from danger. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. May you have ease and well-being. Let this loving kindness come from you and touch this loved one. It could be feeling, words, color, and light. May you be free from stress and anxiety. May you be free from all fear. Now imagine that this loved one turns around and sends it back to you. See if you can receive the loving kindness, taking it in. May you be happy. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be safe and protected from all danger. May you have joy and well-being. Let yourself take all of it in. If you're not feeling anything, that's okay. If you're feeling something other than loving kindness, that's okay too, and check in with yourself. Now see if it's possible to send loving kindness to yourself. Imagine it coming down from your heart. May I be safe and protected from danger. May I be healthy and strong. May I be happy and peaceful. May I accept myself just as I am. If you can, let it expand out and spread, touching the universe in all directions. All right, thank you.
All right, so now that we've kind of gotten started, thank you, Carolyn, for leading that one again. I think it's important. And so I just want to give a couple reminders. First off, I want to thank you all for attending. Reminding you that just attending these lectures, you are entered into a raffle for a little prize. You can also feel free to join us a little bit earlier at 11:30 a.m. on Thursdays for a drawing tutorial. Also for a prize, just to hang out with us and draw a little before we get to business. But also make sure that you're turning in your homework by midnight on Wednesdays for this adulting class. And so next Wednesday, make sure to complete the last assignment. And then also look for information in the next couple of days about graduation, which will be held next Friday, July 31st at 6 p.m. And so it'll just be a celebration of the work that you guys have done and a little event to kind of move forward after having completed the program. So we look forward to seeing you then. But yeah, so from here, we're going to move to the student involvement on campus section of this synchronous meeting, led by TAs Yessenia and Jordan. So please take it away.
Hi guys. Do you need me to share my screen at all? Or?
Sure.
Okay. So everything that I have is just extremely straightforward. So I created an extremely long list of organizations on campus. So we can start with clubs. There's a lot of clubs that cater to people of color, which is what I mainly wanted to focus on, but even a few that were interesting, like DePaul Journalism is really cool. DePaul Arts Collective, History of Art and Architecture Club, which a few of those are like focused on majors or just people's interests. There's Cinema Collaborative, there's Women's March, a lot of activist organizations. For those of you who are looking for organizations to meet more people of color, whether you be Black or Hispanic or Asian, there's a lot of cultural organizations through OMSS that you can get in touch with. We have like the Black Student Union, which has an extremely strong prevalence on DePaul's campus. We have Asian Culture Exchange, a ton of them. We also have like plenty of sports and activities to get in touch with. I have just a few listed here. So cross country and track and field. There's a dance team, which is also more of like an organization, but I feel like it's extremely relevant to include it along with the other sports that we have. There's intramural sports. So if you're not necessarily playing for the school itself, you have the opportunity to still continue playing sports in college through intramural sports or even club sports. I know that we have club soccer and things like that. We have water polo, we have basketball for women and men, we have men's and women's soccer, softball too, and swim, amongst other things. As far as Greek life, we have an extremely strong Greek life on campus. And this goes for a lot of schools too. We have alphas on campus, we have deltas, we have AKAs, we have the Divine Nine, which are the historically Black fraternities and sororities on our campus. And then we also have multicultural Greek life as well. So all of these tags, you can follow them all on Instagram. And then last but certainly not least, we have a few other resources. We have the Center for Black Diaspora. You can follow them on Instagram as well. You'll pretty much find like all sorts of resources that cater to the Black diaspora. We also have like the Black Cultural Center, which is where all of your Black people will be studying and hosting events. So I think that's extremely important to get in touch with. And the Office of Multicultural Student Success, which is OMSS, that's where you're gonna basically find everything you need when it comes to organizations for people of color. So yeah, that's just a few things.
Great. So hi, everyone. I'm Yessenia. Thank you, Jordan, so much for giving us a rundown of the different opportunities that you'll find on campus. Now, I'm sure that it can be overwhelming, so many things to do, but how will you guys know what's available on your campus, wherever you end up? So there's so many different ways that you can find out about these opportunities. One, simple flyers as you're walking down from class to class, from the cafeteria, through hallways. Don't stare down at your phone all the time. If you look up, promise you will find a flyer of some type of organization on campus. And then next you have people. So it's a little different. You're not going to have the same people in your class, in all your classes. It's going to vary a lot. So make some friends, or you'll probably see, someone come in with like, I don't know, basketball shorts or something, and it says DePaul, and you're like, oh, maybe they are on the basketball team. Or you'll find like the book bags where it says athletics on it. Or you'll see someone sporting, some Greek letters, and that's an easy conversation starter. Like, oh, wow, you're in that group. So don't be afraid to reach out. But for those who are less prone to, physically go up to somebody, you also have socials. So at least for DePaul, and I'm sure other universities have a Facebook group, and these are managed by sometimes some actual faculty, but usually like students. So for DePaul, when I was going into college, I was like, okay, I want to meet people that will be with me for the next 4 years, roughly. So I would go to 4 years ahead. So I came into school 2017. I would look for the 2021 class of DePaul, join that group, and then it'll forever be like the people I went to school with. And that's where you'll find things like what clubs, what organizations, and then also things like books. You know, hey, I took this class and I don't need this book, $5 instead of paying 200. So socials are a good way to also get in touch with people and find out about resources on campus. Next, we have the actual online website. So for DePaul, we recently changed and it's now D-Hub. And at D-Hub, it is strictly dedicated to all the organizations, Greek life, sports, different clubs, you know, cultural or not, even like, you know, chess, things like that, which I believe chess is a sport. And you can find it on there. You could reach out to them, you could join, and you could see all of their events and meetings, dates, which makes it a lot easier. And, you know, you could just type online like, hey, I have a question about this, because it has everybody's, like the president, the secretary's information on there. Makes it a lot easier if you happen to have all online classes and you can't go in person, you could still find out all the things that are available. Lastly will be actual events. So most universities will have a quad, which is just a really big grassy patch between some buildings where a lot of events happen and they're hosted right there. At DePaul, it's called an involvement fair, which happens roughly around the first week of class during the fall quarter and then during the winter. And this is just a really big showcase of all the organizations on campus. And there's a lot of free stuff. So even if you're not looking to join, you know, something about Frisbee, you could go over there and get a Frisbee for free. I remember my freshman year, that was like the big thing. And there was her campus and they were giving out free makeup, and not like, you know, the bogus kind. It was really good quality mascara and stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow, I'm interested. Did I ever join? No, but it was still free stuff. You get a lot of free shirts and cups. Nice way to get some merch, but also to talk to people and see what you're actually involved in. And obviously nothing is like, oh, you come to our table, sign your life away. It's not like that. It's just for information. Now, you know the clubs, you know what can be out there, you know how to access those, but what happens when you decide to not do anything at all? Now, this is where I get into like a personal story, if you don't mind me sharing. But this is a situation that may happen to a few of you. So personally, my first quarter at DePaul was absolutely miserable for me. And I am not afraid to share that with you guys because I don't want this happening to you. I was a person that in high school that I did everything. I did swimming, water polo, basketball, volleyball, all the, you know, the societies. I was running around. I always did things. And then I came into college where I have so much time. And all I did was go to class and go home. I took, you know, 2 trains and a bus to get home. I'm from Chicago, so being a commuter was difficult. Obviously, I didn't live on campus because it wasn't worth the money since I live really close. So it was hard. It was really difficult, and I made no friends, and I cried a lot, you know, every single day because I was just so detached. I'm like, this is not my campus. This is not my school. This is like, I felt like this is not even my city. So it was a very difficult first 3 months being at DePaul, and I made it so hard on myself, and that was completely on me. You know, it was awful, and I realized that, and it ruined my first quarter. I really wanted to drop out of the university. That's how bad it was, because I just felt like, what am I doing here? I see everybody in the residence halls, you know, being friends, inviting people over, and I'm not allowed because they have a max of like 2 people. I'd be the 3rd, and I don't live there. So really difficult, and I made it hard for myself because a lot of the events were at night, and I'm not going to take the red line at like midnight. So that was awful, and it really sucked. And I am very glad that I did not withdraw from the university, because I wouldn't be able to help other students. I wouldn't be able to, continue with my journey and all of the opportunities I have gotten. And now I'm in a few different organizations, even with some of the other TAs I'm with, like Ari, we're in Dale together. And it's been a really great experience to actually get involved in the DePaul community. So that can be a really big issue. Get involved with something at all. It doesn't have to be, everything. But personally for me, that transition from high school to college was really rough, and I felt alone. Now, on the flip side of that, what happens when you want to do everything? You'll get burned out very, very, very quickly. For those who did the assignment, it was about teaching you, time management and what happens when you try to take on a lot of things. If you want to do everything on that list, you wouldn't have been able to. There was just too much. You don't have enough time. Everything equated to about like 5 weeks of stuff. How can you fit that in 1 week of time? So you're going to have to make some sacrifices, because a lot of the times you will have, school, work, a club, a group meeting, and an event, and you won't see your family for that day. And it might happen again for the next day. So sacrifices are going to happen. And that's what happens when you're becoming an adult. You make decisions and you make sacrifices, and that is completely normal and fine. And lastly, but please get involved with something, because you make friends, you make memories, and it really helps you like mentally and physically just stay active. No one wants to be a couch potato, because then you start having issues with, depression, loneliness, even, physical issues. Like I haven't done a sport in like 2 years, and I'm like tired running up one flight of stairs. So things happen with that. So please get involved with something, but don't overwhelm yourself. So lastly, I will leave you off with this little like saying type where it might not make sense, but trust me, we are all cups. And you're probably thinking like, what is this lady telling me? But I was told this my freshman year when I was in an EDGE program with Ari, the other TA, if you know her. And this man who, I forget his name, but I do not forget his face. But he told me that we are all cups. And I looked at him crazy too. But it just means that we are a cup, and we want to pour ourselves into everything, into our friends, into our families, into relationships, into the sport, the club, academics. So many things we want to pour ourselves into. But how are you going to pour yourselves into things when you yourself are empty? That's when you need to take a moment and practice self-care, because you cannot do things, you cannot commit to things and pour yourselves into so many different things you want to do when you yourself are empty. You're gassed. You don't have the energy. You don't have the mental strength, the spiritual strength, the physical strength. You need to take care of yourself first before you get involved with other things. So it's a little difficult, but please remember that we are all cups. Self-care, take a moment to think about what's best for you, your body, your brain, yourself, your spirit, and then go from there so that you could enjoy other things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yessenia. I think that's a super great segue into my exercises. So let me share my screen here. Let's see. Oh. All right. Can everyone see it? Oh no.
Hey, Carolyn, you're actually a little early.
Am I?
Yeah, you're a little early. I like your enthusiasm though, but a little early.
My bad.
So we're gonna jump back to Kaylin, and we're gonna question out some of the other TAs about the organizations that they're involved with, and then Carolyn will be on after our guest comes in.
Oh, okay.
So,
sorry about that. Go ahead.
all good. We do love the enthusiasm. I just wanted to answer one of the questions we got in the chat, and I want to open it up now. If you guys do have any questions about engagement, about our experiences at DePaul. The question that we had asked was about clubs related to students' majors. And so in addition to all of these kind of more social clubs, there's some of the fraternities and sororities are professional based. And so there's a number of professional fraternities and sororities on campus. There are professional development groups, and there's tons of academic groups. And so when you like declare a major, you're entered into like an emailing list, and they have events for each major. And so I've jumped around between 4 majors over the last 2 years. And so I'm part of groups for each of them. So I've taken classes with each department. And so there's always a community around academics as well. So these are more so, the ones listed are mainly student initiated groups and organizations, but of course there's always academic ones for every major, every minor, every program, every grad program, every interest that you might have. And it's also really easy to make your own. And so if you don't see something that interests you, then all you have to do is really get a faculty sponsor, and you can make your own club or organization. So I want to bump it over to Jorge if he has any insight about his experience with clubs and organizations at DePaul.
Yeah. So someone asked about clubs that are like more like major focus. So I'm actually part of 2 business clubs. And one is called Mejia, and the other one is called Alpha. And these are like either like national or just like within the school kind of business clubs. Because I am a business major, so one of them really focuses on accounting jobs and internships. And then the other one really focuses on just general like business for like Latinos, that kind of thing. And those are the things that like kind of really interest me. So I went out and I went looking for these kind of clubs, and maybe like, you know, you don't have to make a huge commitment, right? A lot of them are just like come to a general meeting and, you know, check us out. But these clubs are really helpful because they know all the companies, right? They have all like, you know, the networks already established. So definitely if you're looking for things like internships, or you're really job, you know, career focused, and you know exactly what you want in business, like they're there to serve as like that sort of bridge between you and the employers. And I've had a really good experience with like their events, because usually they have like real people there, like, you know, people who are recruiting, people who are just looking there to you know, network with students. And if that's like your scene, then definitely you can join a club like that. Also, I'm a part of like intramural dodgeball, so I play dodgeball like once or twice a week, and that was just for me. That's just like I kind of, you know, I like being a little bit like active, you know, so I try whenever I can. And dodgeball seemed pretty fun. I made a couple friends. So definitely there's different clubs for everybody. I think there's like over like 300 like different clubs at DePaul and things like that. So you know, if you're looking to get into like trading stocks, or just like, you know, eating Japanese food with like friends, like there's clubs like literally just like that at DePaul. You know, like language clubs. I'm sure there's clubs for like just like a lot of things that, you know, may interest you. So for sure, you can always find something that's for you, or like people that you know basically want to associate yourself with and stuff like that. You know, clubs are a great way to network, and I definitely recommend being a part of a few of them. I'm also a part of Dale with Ari, and you know, they do a lot of great events. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about Dale, Ari.
Yes, I can talk about Dale. So Dale, not to be confused with the Pitbull saying, Dale is the DePaul Alliance for Latinx Empowerment. And so I see it as a social And a social club, as in like we have events, like we'll have like a dance for Dia de los Muertos, we fundraise for stuff. But it's also like there's social justice events that we have. We have different workshops. We also do networking and like business career focused events. So like we'll do resumes. But yeah, I think if you're looking for a club and you're not really sure where to start, I would say think about things that are like, I guess like communities communities you are a part of, but also communities you want to try to be a part of. I think for me, it was really overwhelming when you go into the involvement fair and there's so many different things you could join. So for me, I found out about it through Yessenia, who's already a member. And so, yeah, like look at your friends and see what they're doing and like just shoot your shot and just see like what fits with you. I mean, honestly, there's other clubs that like you think you want to be a part of and then you go and it's not a right fit for you, and that's okay. If worst comes to worst, you could start your own club and make it what you want it to be.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. At this point, thank you guys for sharing. I think it's really important to hear our testimonials. But additionally, I think it's time to move over to a different topic. And so a different way to make your experience at DePaul better, to make your experience in college better, is to work with professionals in terms of guidance and counseling and things like that, academic and otherwise. And so I'm going to hand it off to one of the college transitions coordinators at DePaul in the Office of Multicultural Student Success, Yessenia Mejia. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. Know that I'm going to try to create as many moments for us to like interact and engage, but I do want to share a little bit about OMSS. If someone could give me access to share my screen, that would be great.
You should be good now. Sorry about that.
No, you're okay. Thank you. All right, so my name is Yessenia Mejia. I use she, her pronouns. I am currently the interim assistant director for the Office of Multicultural Student Success. And the team that I oversee is the Identity Conscious team, right? And so I'm gonna talk to you all a little bit about being identity conscious and what makes OMSS so great and the work that we do with students. So just wanna make sure that everyone can see my screen. Yes, okay. So the Office of Multicultural Student Success, our overall mission is to create a sense of belongingness to help students be retained and persist towards graduation for students of color, students who demonstrate financial need, first-generation college students, undocumented immigrant students, as well as students with marginalized genders and sexualities. And I would just like to say that like diversity and inclusion in OMSS is very intentional, right? And so when I say that is we want to acknowledge the ways that multiple identities intersect and to also name that everyone's experience is very different, right? So not all Latinx student experience are the same. Not all Black student experience are the same. And so I'm gonna share a little bit about each of our services and programs and how we really hope to empower and help you all thrive at DePaul. So I did want to talk a little bit about some of the identities, right, that may be within our spaces, but I think it's also really important for us to even just you all share with me what identities are in this room, in this Zoom room right now. And so if you could do me a favor, if you could go to menti.com, menti.com, and use the code 1612. And yeah, just like pop in, let me know what identities you think are important for me to like acknowledge as I go through the presentation, or for me just to be mindful of as we engage in dialogue with one another. I'm gonna give you all about a minute or so. Great. And you all can keep putting different identities into this space. I will go ahead and go back to my previous screen, but do want to let you all know that these are important, right, for us to acknowledge and to think through. And as those were bubbling up, I was already starting to see, wow, like there are some people within the Zoom space, which would, you know, there are pockets of the OMS community where you could potentially see yourself, right? Or maybe come across, I heard you all talking about like student groups before this, right? And so there are student groups that even like come into our spaces and facilitate programming. And so OMS has a lot to offer students. And I just want to make sure that I can answer any questions that you have about our spaces, and also share any other information that you may have about how you may potentially see yourself within OMS. So within OMS, we hope that you connect, learn, and you're just like, be yourself, right? We don't ask for students to not show up authentically. I think for us, it's important for us to acknowledge that it is a PWI, or a predominantly white institution, right? And that may complicate someone's experience. And so we really see ourselves as an office to enrich your experience at DePaul, right? And I use the word enrich instead of like filling gaps, because I don't want to think of someone with the not as much navigational capital as others, and not knowing how to navigate DePaul as lesser. I think we think about it as you already have so many strengths that have helped you get to DePaul in the first place. And so we want to make sure that we utilize the skills and the strengths that you already have to help you thrive while you're with us. So we do have 4 culture and resource centers. We have the APIDA Cultural Center, the Black Cultural Center, the Latinx Cultural Center, and the LGBTQIA+ Resource Center. And so within each of these spaces, students will put on programming, just have a space for students to be in community with one another, have dialogue. And so our APIDA Cultural Center actually has I would say is always filled. There's always students in that space, which is beautiful, and there's like this beautiful sense of community. Some of the signature events that come from the APIDA Cultural Center and the coordinator are the potluck, monthly dialogue series, the Grace Lee Boggs Heritage Breakfast, as well as APIDA Heritage Month, and like the programming for that month. But so much more. The Black Cultural Center is also on that same floor, the 3rd floor of O'Connell. And some of the signature series within that space include Black Girls Break Bread, Sankofa, Black Student Formation Program, Tea in the BCC with Minister Janae. And I'm really excited. I think when I see student groups like have their meetings within that space, or you know, whether it's study jams or whatever it is, like there's always students flowing in and out, not only from one cultural center, but they flow in and out into other cultural centers, right? So even if you do not identify with the identity that is centered within that space, know that that does not mean that you cannot go there. These are also educational spaces, right? And so if there is a workshop and you just like want to learn and grow, these spaces are also open to you. The Latinx Cultural Center has a couple different programs, which include the Dolores Huerta Prayer Breakfast, Latinx Heritage Month celebrations, and the Latinx Fiesta. And then our LGBTQIA+ Resource Center has their own signature programs, which include the Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera Annual Gala, Queer Halloween, and then Gender Question Mark Discussion Group. So gender question mark, the discussion group is facilitated by students for students, right? And I think that's a really great space for students to be in dialogue with one another, right? And so if you're looking for community with each other, please know that that is a great space for you to do that. Oh, there's a question. Oh, okay, sorry. So we also provide support for undocumented students, which includes our scholarships, legal referrals, wellness checks, advocacy. I currently oversee undocumented student support, and so if you're looking for some guidance in that, you can go ahead and email me. Please do not disclose your status in an email, but just let me know that you just like want to check in, and I would be more than happy to do that. Generation Success is specifically for first generation college students. We want to help you thrive within your first year. We pair you up with a student mentor, a faculty, you have a whole cohort, there's like a stipend that's included in that, tons of outings, and really I think a supportive environment for students who, you know, just like want to feel in community and to be able to support and ask each other questions about how to navigate DePaul. STARS is a mentorship program, so it's a team of 30 mentors who have successfully already navigated their first, second, or third year at DePaul, and so they're really interested in giving back to the communities that they reside in, and so that can be, you know, checking in on you on a weekly basis, right? Reminding you of deadlines, letting you know about scholarships, things like that. The Men of Color Initiative is a really great space for men of color. And what I really like about this program is that there is not only just community building aspects, but also the conversation around like masculinity and what that means within different communities. So that can look different, you know, professionally, academically, socially. And then Women Empowered is like the sister program to MOC, and so very similar format where folks come together to just be in dialogue and support each other around their identities. I also heard as I was coming in some of the questions about like career development and like finding internships. If you're looking for, I guess, a staff member who's committed to like your professional growth, you can join PATHS your second year or just attend our workshops. And so they talk about preparing you past DePaul, right? And so what does it look like for you to start thinking about graduate school? What does it look like for you to start thinking about entering the workforce, being competitive, being a competitive candidate? Our office has so many scholarships. Right now, the application that is open is the Riversville Scholarship through our office. And our scholars also do a lot of service. And so they do service in Chicago, they'll do service across the country. And they really make sure to live out the Vincentian mission of giving back to their communities. If at any point in time you're looking for books, also know that OMSS provides a free book service through our book loan program. You get to borrow the book for the quarter and you just bring it back. You can do that by going to our office in Suite 105 in the Lincoln Park Student Center and just bringing your syllabi and letting us know what books you're looking for. If we have them, we'll lend them out. And if not, we can talk you through how to access those books in other ways. So that is our office. You can connect with us through all of these ways, either through email, through our website, to learn a little bit more, through our Instagram or our Facebook. There is someone attending to all of our social media, and so if you're interested in finding out more or wanting to be connected, know that that is a resource for you. So that was a lot. And I'm just going to open it up to questions just because I want to be mindful of time. So if you are maybe a little bit like shy, maybe don't want to put it, like say it out loud, you can either put it in the chat or you can also text it to Mentimeter. No questions about our office? If not, that's okay. I definitely brought more dialogue questions, which I think are important for us to talk through as well. And so know that diversity and inclusion at DePaul is, we want to talk about the complexity of that, but we also want to name and respect all of the cultural wealth that you bring with you, right? And so inclusion to us means creating access, right? And so what type of cultural wealth do you, will you personally use to thrive at DePaul? And know that every single one of you has cultural wealth, right? We like to think of our students as coming in with an abundance instead of like a lack of. So familial, right? If you're really thinking about leaning in on your family to help you thrive, maybe navigational capital, you are already familiar, right? And just as an FYI, the fact that you are all in this course also gives you navigational capital, right? Because you are being exposed super early on to all the resources that DePaul already has. Resistant capital. So resistant capital, or sorry, aspirational capital is the capital that you dream big, right? You're a dreamer, you're a visionary. You are always setting goals and wanting more. Resistant capital, right, is if there's a barrier across your path, like you are not going to let that stop you, right? Like you are going to go ahead and keep trying, which is really important, I think, when students are engaging with a space that they've never been familiarized with. Social, right, that can be friends, that can be mentors, and then linguistic, right? I think that is understanding the language that is being used within a space, so that way you know how to ask for help. If someone gives you directions on how to yield that help, you also know how to do that as well. So I want to let you all know that all the identities that you all shared are powerful, and you come in with this abundance of cultural wealth that I do not want to have you all think of that you do not have this. You do have it, right? So use those as strengths as you navigate DePaul or any institution that you go to. Any questions, thoughts?
Well, I'll let people keep typing. I just want to say that I'm one of the TAs and a peer guide for the program. I just want to say thank you for joining us today and telling us all about this. I think it's really important, no matter what stage you are, no matter how you think about your college experience, it's really important to take advantage of the resources at hand. And so it's always good to have this on your radar as you go forward. So yeah, if anybody has any other questions and things like that, please ask them now.
And I will share the presentation in the link, or sorry, the link in the, oops, sorry, Jason, I accidentally sent this to you. In the chat, so you can go ahead and if you want to take your time to go through those resources, know that you have all that time to do so. And then if you want to like email me personally, here is my email as well. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for yours. We really appreciate it. And just so everybody knows, this will also be in the recap email, so you'll have those resources sent to you after this meeting is done. Yeah, it's great to hear from you. Thank you so much, Yessenia.
Thank you.
So now moving from OMS on, we'll hand it over to Carolyn and Natalie with their presentation, with some information on self-care.
Hi. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here. Can everyone see? Cool. So I'm going to conduct some exercises in maintaining your college, work, and personal life, and they're taken from Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. So kind of coming off of what Yessenia was saying about self-care and treating yourself right, I want you to first say it like a mantra. Treating myself like a precious object will make me strong. Now, we tend to think being hard on ourselves will make us strong, but it is cherishing ourselves that gives us strength. Why? Because you're not a robot. You're a cup, as Yessenia said. If you're a human being that gets drained, you're a human being that gets drained every time you expend energy to work. So it's very important, it's essential to fill yourself up with the things that relax you or give you joy. And a happier, healthier, rejuvenated you can get a lot more done than a stressed out, drained version of you. So how do we begin to do that? Because I feel like we can say that we'll try, but like, what are some like concrete ways we can begin to do that? I think there's 2 ways. 1, limiting unproductive work habits, and 2, scheduling time for yourself. So limiting unproductive work habits. What does that mean? Let's talk about workaholism a bit. So what's workaholism? Does anyone engage in being a workaholic? Workaholism is the addiction to work, right? So there's a difference between working very happily towards a goal and workaholism. And what is that difference? So for a workaholic, work is synonymous with worth. So we are hesitant to let go of it, and that's not necessarily healthy. So I want you to take out a piece of paper and a pen, or your phone, anything that you can make notes on, and take a minute to think, what destructive workaholic habits do I practice? Am I working because I feel guilty or pressured, even though it's not productive or healthy? And some examples of that are, I wake up early on Saturdays to work an extra shift, but it makes me so tired the rest of the week, I fall asleep in class. Or I start doing my homework on Friday nights while also going on Instagram and TikTok and messaging my friends all at the same time. I end up not doing anything. So take a minute and think for yourself, like, what are some unproductive work habits that I engage in? And write it down. I'll give you a minute.
And Carolyn, you have a few comments in the chat as well while they're writing.
Oh, great. Let's take a look.
I'll actually share the comments with you so you don't have to.
Oh, great. I'm like, how do I feel it?
So one of the comments was, I'm a total workaholic. I think it's my biggest flaw. I refuse to take breaks most of the time. And other people just admitting that they're workaholics, and some people saying that their friends are workaholics as well.
Absolutely. I think we live in a society that actually encourages workaholism, right? Like I said, we associate work with worth. So no wonder we engage in these destructive habits, right? That don't necessarily help much. So let's move on. Now that we've thought about some of our destructive workaholic habits, here's a new exercise. So it's called the bottom line exercise. List 3 boundaries you can set for yourself to stop unproductive workaholism. So some examples. 1, I will no longer say yes to every shift my boss wants me to work. I'll take 3 shifts a week, max. Or 2, I'll schedule time to do my homework, but leave Friday nights for myself to go online and do nothing. 3, I will no longer postpone dates or phone calls with friends because I feel guilty that I'm not working. So go ahead and think and write down 3 things, 3 boundaries that you can set for yourself to stop unproductive workaholism. And go ahead and share in the chat with others. I'll be happy to hear about your ideas. All right. So now that we've set some boundaries, let's move on to the next exercise. Cherishing yourself exercise. This is my favorite. Now, write down, think of 3 nice promises to yourself to be completed in the next month. So examples. I will take myself to a sacred space, like a grove of trees or a separate room in my house, and allow myself to savor the silence and healing solitude. I will buy myself something that gives me joy, a candle, socks, or a plant. I will name it something fun. I will make a collage from magazines of the things I love and put it in a place of honor. So take a minute and make 3 nice promises to yourself to be completed in the next month. Awesome. So I want you to take a look at these promises that you've made for yourself and continue to try to honor them throughout the next month. And afterwards, I want you to acknowledge your victories. And it really takes practice. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. Like, if you're really, really addicted to work, like I could be sometimes, then it really is a work in progress. So here are some examples for you to acknowledge your victories. Example, I said no thank you to an extra shift at work. I was scared to do it, but I needed a mental health day and everything turned out all right. I had a wonderful talk with my grandmother on Zoom. It filled up my heart and inspired me. I turned off all devices and did nothing all Saturday morning. I made tea and played with my dog, and now I feel at peace and refreshed. So it's important to acknowledge your victories. All right. I don't know if many of you are immigrants or have immigrant parents, but I grew up with immigrant parents, and I adopted the mentality of, I say the immigrant work ethic of like, I need to work really, really hard or else I'll never succeed. I need to make my family proud. I need to make their journey to America worth it. I need to feed my family. And so part of that became a work ethic that actually worked out for me and made me work hard, but also it was damaging. You know, when you work too hard, you damage your mind, your body, your soul, and you can't bring out the best in yourself, the best gifts of yourself to give to the world. So these are some exercises that I think could be super beneficial in helping to start to turn that around if you're addicted to work. I know it might sound counterintuitive to be like, to know that your work will be better if you work less and if you work smarter and if you actually schedule time for yourselves. I took a look at some of you guys' Wednesday night homework for adulting with making the mock schedule. And a lot of you didn't schedule time for yourself. It was just like back-to-back work, like wake up, I'm doing this, and then I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, I'm doing this, all the way to 10 p.m. and I'm going to bed. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not sustainable. That really isn't. Not in college, not in your adult life, not for the rest of your life. You really need to schedule in time for yourself. That's super important. And yeah, listen to Yessenia. We're all cups. All right, thank you.
All right, so now I am going to share my screen so we could do a quick little time management activity now that we all learned about self-care and making sure you have everything scheduled and set aside. So let me bring that up. Okay, so time management. So here's a little activity. We have Alyssa, her schedule. She's taking 3 courses, which equal 9 credit hours. So let's begin and see how we're going to schedule everything with studying, work, school, all that stuff is going to be in here. So like I said, she's taking 3 different credit courses. Here is her schedule laid out. So this is something similar that you guys will be seeing in college. Here, for example, here, Alyssa, her classes are Monday and Wednesday. She has composition. Then her college experience is also Monday and Wednesday. And then she will have intermediate algebra Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then she has Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So here is our first exercise. She lives 30 minutes away from campus. How many hours a week do you think Alyssa should set aside for studying? So if you guys want to take a look, how many hours do you think she should set aside for studying? Remember, she has these 3 different courses. About how many hours do you think she should study per each course? Taking into consideration the homework you will be receiving, also how important it is to review your notes, assignments, and homework each week. This way you won't have to review so much when midterms and finals come up. It won't be all piled up for you, so you won't have to be like, oh, I have to review everything since chapter 1 because I haven't even looked at it since the first week of class. Trust me, before you know it, it's already going to be midterms and finals week. So if, Jason, if you can tell me if anybody's like saying about how many hours she should study, since I cannot see the chat, or maybe I can't, let me see. Oh, yes, I can. So Cynthia said 4.5 hours. Emma said 30 minutes, 2.5, 3 hours. So what I'm getting is that maybe you guys are saying 2.5 hours to 3 hours per course. So let's take 2 hours per course. Since she has 3 classes, we would do 3 times 2. So that would be 6 hours a week. So let's put that in here and see what we get. So here it says, according to the average, you should allocate 2 to 3 hours for every hour in class/class credit. So what they suggest here is that since she is taking 9 credits, this means that she should be setting aside 18 to 27 hours a week for studying. So that may seem a lot, but that really takes into consideration you doing your homework, you reading the content for that week, you studying for any quizzes that may even be coming up, aside from midterms and finals. So they're saying 18 to 27 hours a week for studying. Next, we have paying bills, working. So obviously, once we take on the responsibility of going to college, we're going to have to pay for our own food, our own gas money. If you're going to be driving to school or to work, literally anything else like laundry, detergent, you will find out about everything that you will need to have to pay. So, but of course, everybody has different responsibilities. Maybe some won't have to pay as many things as others. So here, thinking about working, how many hours do you think Alicia should work, taking into account her school schedule, that she does have these 3 different courses, but then again, she has Friday and Saturday, Sunday off. She does have some time gap in between after her classes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. So if you guys want to put in the chat about how many hours you think she should be working. Someone said 3 to 4 hours. Cynthia said 20 to 25 hours, 20 hours from Angie, 15 from Sabina. Okay, so we're in this 20 to, Jorge said 45. Yes, per week. We're just talking about here how many hours per week she should work. Then again, taking into consideration everything that we talked about, self-care, but then also just making sure time management is taken into consideration. So let's put in 25. Let's see what they say. So here's a little note. Remember that she is taking 3 classes, like I said, and her studying will take about 18 to 27 hours per week. Does Alyssa have the time in her schedule to work the number of hours you recommended and still dedicate enough time to her classes, social life, and other responsibilities? So they suggested this work schedule for Alyssa. She's working Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. These are 8-hour shifts. You can see her schedule here, how they set it up for her. So I recommend always setting up your weekly schedule to see the times and what you're doing for each of them. So here she has class, then she has work. She's only working these 4 days, studying set aside, and then the total hours for each day. So let's go on to the next question. So now that we're looking at her full schedule with work and considering how many hours she should be studying, do you think Alyssa should consider cutting back on something? Then again, remember, she still needs to include social time with family and friends, of course, sleep, meals, exercise, and other responsibilities. So what do you guys think? She should cut back on something? If so, what do you think she should cut back on? So Emma is saying cut back on her work hours. Jorge said cut her sleep. Cynthia said cut back 5 to 10 hours on work. We need to sleep. Yes, Emma, I agree. We need to sleep. We need to take care of ourselves. So we are going to go into that in a bit about sleeping schedule. Cut back on studying. I do agree we should. Okay, so let's say yes, you should cut back on some things. So now we can't forget about sleep. We all need sleep. So about how many hours of sleep do you think Alicia should get in a week? So let's say we do maybe 6, 7, or 8 hours a week. That would be about 40 to 50-ish hours a week of getting sleep. So let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. 56 hours a week, 56 hours a week. Okay, I'm seeing 56, so let's put in 56 hours a week. So it is, according to the National Institute of Health, it is recommended for adults to get an average of 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So taking into consideration 8 hours of sleep, 8 times 7 is 56. So you guys were on the right track. Always important to get those hours of sleep, no procrastination. Like this is why it's important to manage your time to be able to get yourself enough time to sleep in order for you to function well the next day. So here, again, we're taking into consideration exercise. It's always important to take care of your mental and physical health. So again, how many hours of exercise do you think she has in a week to exercise? So let me go into the chat about how many hours do you guys think? 3.5, Ari said, 5, 10, 4.5, 5. So let's do 4 hours a week. Let's see what they say. So she will be working out 4 days a week for about an hour. So yes, so at least 4 hours a week is good for exercising. Again, making sure that you're also taking care of yourself and making sure you're getting your body and mind active for the week. Here, we're taking a look into balancing social work and school, and so that you don't get burnt out, making sure you're also spending time to yourself, even if it's just reading a book or spending time with your friends, family. Maybe you want to go and volunteer. Maybe you want to attend a cool event that's happening on campus. So about how many hours a week would you set aside for Alyssa for her social life? So let's take a look at the chat. About 5, 4 people are saying. Cynthia says about 2 and between 2 and 5 hours. So let's put in 5 hours a week. Let's see. So they suggest that she sets about 4 to 6 hours a week to spend socially. So here is a total about the actual hours that she will be spending a week, taking into consideration her class, studying, working, sleeping, exercise, and social life compared to ours. So, but then again, just thinking we haven't built in time to clean, to do laundry, go grocery shopping, cooking food, even like getting ready and taking a shower, that's all still supposed to take into consideration. So do you think Alyssa might need to readjust her schedule to fit in the time that she needs to complete and pass her courses successfully? And I'm pretty sure, yes, everybody is saying yes. So let's continue. So just an important recap. This is something important always, to making sure that you're timing everything and making sure that everything's on track and making sure that you're not burned out. So I created a PDF here, Adulting 101, Time Management, and I will provide this to Kaylin so he can send it out to all you as a recap. These are links. You'll be able to click these links and learn more about how important these are to be taken into consideration when learning about time management. And I believe you guys can even use it now. It shouldn't just start in college, but you guys can start now. So I will stop sharing my screen. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about time management.
Yeah, so thank you so much for presenting, both Natalie and Carolyn. We're going to move quickly on to our next guest. They work in the Health, Wellness and Promotion Office at DePaul. They the Substance Misuse Prevention Specialist, Katie Bellamy. Take it away.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see all your faces here. I feel like I learned a lot from that presentation. Holy moly, I'm feeling overwhelmed for you now. But that's definitely where our office comes in. So like Kaylin said, I'm Katie Bellamy. I'm the Substance Misuse Prevention Specialist in the Office of Health Promotion and Wellness. So I'm just here to chat a little bit about what our office does and how you might be able to utilize our resources. So I like to think of our office as kind of like a resource of resources. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're struggling with anything under our three big categories would be mental well-being. So like stress management, time management, feeling overwhelmed, making friends, things like that. Substance use. So that could be anywhere from like trying to live life substance free, choosing to use substances and wanting to learn about harm reduction strategies, or being in recovery. And then our other kind of general category is healthy relationships, consent, sexual and relationship violence. So within our office, we do have professional staff and we provide one-on-one support as well as wellness coaching. Our office, we are the confidential survivor support advocates. So if anybody identifies as being a survivor and they're looking for some support, of course, you know, if you share certain things with like a faculty member, they would have to report to Title IX. Within our office, that is an option, so we can keep it confidential. We don't have to report. We can help link people to resources. We have the recovery community. So we're meeting virtually just like this. We meet once a week. This is for any DePaul student or alumni who's in any type of recovery. So mental health recovery, substance use recovery, eating disorder recovery. So that's a peer support group. In addition to the one-on-one support that our office provides, we also have a team of peer health educators. We call them HEAT, their Health Education Action Team. And so they're doing a bunch of, this year, virtual programming. So on a wide range of topics. So, you know, it could be on like how to get healthy sleep or building healthy communication, stress management, lots of different things. So all of our events are on D-Hub, which is sort of where you find like all of the events on campus. You can always register. We also post a bunch on our Instagram and Facebook, which is Healthy DePaul. So I would definitely recommend following to stay in the loop. What am I missing? One-on-one support, the workshops with HEAT. I think I'm covering it. Oh, how to reach out to us. That'd be helpful to know, right? Our website is go.depaul.edu/HPW. And you can email us at hpw@depaul.edu. And something I think is always important to remember, you know, sometimes I see students and they're like, oh, I wish I would have come and asked your office like earlier on. And I think sometimes there's a barrier in thinking that like we need to know what we need before we can ask for help. So I just want to put that out there, that it's like a perfectly healthy and normal thing to say like, hey, I don't know what I need help with, but can you help me? Like, so I'm struggling with my sleep, or I'm struggling with my roommate relationship, and I need some guidance. So within those three categories, some things that you might be experiencing. So some roommate concerns. Also, if you're like commuting virtually, this year is going to add a whole new layer of concerns, right? So how do we build community when we're supposed to be socially distanced? How do we set boundaries? So that's already something that like incoming freshman year, right? Like learning who we are and how we navigate with people. And then when we add on these layers of like, and let's talk about, are you wearing a mask? Am I wearing a mask? What are we comfortable with? So managing some of those stressors. You know, I always encourage students, like, this is definitely a good time to start checking in with like, what are your values? What are your, how do you communicate what you need with friends, with professors, with your family as you're transitioning? All of that goes along with substance use as well. That's, you know, that's my jam. I love talking about it, ways to stay safe. So if you're choosing to use, how are you using mindfully and more safely? And also not normalizing use. So like, how are we having fun and engaging with folks without using substances? So just know that like our office is a non-judgmental place to get some support, to talk about any of these issues. There's nothing that's like off the table. And if our office isn't the right spot for you, we can help link you with other offices on campus. I want to leave a couple minutes. I know this is real fast, real speedy, but does anybody have any questions, or is there anything that I missed based on what I've shared? No, I'm seeing some head shakes. This is also, you know, these are sometimes some very sensitive and personal topics. So if you're not like wanting to chat this right now, feel free to send me an email and just say like, hey, I was on that presentation and this question came up. Let me put this in the chat. So I'll put my personal email. And this is our office email in general. And then our website and our social. Nope, not Healthy Social, Healthy DePaul. So yeah, hopefully you'll, you know, as things come up, you'll remember my name, remember my face. We're good. I always like to say like, come earlier than later, right? Like, I usually say that when we're in person on campus, just like pop in so you know where our office is at. So you can kind of do that with the website with us being virtual for now. And I guess I should clarify that we are doing virtual sessions right now. So you don't need to wait to come on campus or any of that. We can meet one-on-one just like this over Zoom.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Katie, for coming and sharing with us. I'll definitely pass that information along in our recap email. You're getting a lot of thank yous in the chat, but it really meant a lot. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm excited for you all. Bye.
Well, moving on from there, we'll just kind of go into our breakout rooms and we'll let you guys talk about it for as long as you need to with your TAs. Just a reminder, so you should get, in a second when I open the breakout rooms, you'll get a pop-up, I think, and then you should join the breakout room. And then students, you guys are all good to go whenever your TAs think that it's all right. And there's no need to stay until 1:30 exactly. You know, you guys can stay as late as your TAs can stay.